Mazi Smith, Michigan, the number one freak, as Bruce Feldman said in his preseason, the defensive tackle for the University of Michigan. It was revealed that he was arrested for a possession of unlawful possession of the gun, basically.
Right. He didn't have a license. It was a registered firearm, but he did not have a license to carry it concealed.
Right. And this took place on October 7th, and we were just finding out about this now. At first blush, did Michigan know? Was Mazi honest? Yeah, Mazi, we found out was honest. And in some lame statements that came out from Harbaugh and Ward Manuel, they knew about it. And in my opinion, they dropped the ball. And I believe, look, what Mazi Smith did, let me put this into context. It's not a heinous offense or anything like that.
Not a violent crime.
It's not a violent crime. He broke the law. The law is actually, in Ohio, it would be legal for what him.
Well, in a lot of states it'd be legal, but
right,
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the whole
law
thing.
is what it is here.
So, but the fact is, he broke the law, and to me, Michigan, they have a history of covering things up. Now, well, you can argue all you want whether this is that big of a deal and they covered it up. No, I think that because in today's society and the way people are focused on guns and things like that, it is a felony. Now, it might be, pled down from a felony to a misdemeanor at a later date. But when one of your players, when this happens to me, you suspend them for a game and move on. Or even if you're not going to suspend them, you at least acknowledge the situation. If there's, no victims here, just say what happened and, that's it. Own it. Why don't they own it? And then a few weeks later, and I'm not, it sounds like I am, but I'm really not. Obviously, a Michigan State player hitting somebody else with a helmet and an assault and then jumping those players, that is
two completely different crimes.
That's worse. Okay.
Or accusations of crimes.
Right. You're right. Accusations of crimes. That is worse. But the fact that, Ward Manuel and Jim Harbaugh, were very vocal after the Michigan State game about that, knowing, like I said, not the same crimes, that one of their own was playing, even though he had a felony charge against him.
Well, he wasn't charged until yesterday, so he didn't have a felony charge against him. They knew there was a possibility, and as I've understand it, they didn't think that he was going to be charged with a felony, which is part of why they want their decision-making process.
But I still think, even if they decided not to suspend him, I still think you make it public. And maybe that's stupid on my part for feeling that way. I think when you own something, it's better for you. Instead, you go through this whole litany of things that, whether it was Xavier Simpson, the basketball player who said, "Oh, my name is Jeff Jackson," and he crashed Ward Manuel's wife's car while he was driving it, and you can go to the Dr. Anderson thing.
His son was in the passenger seat.
Whatever, I understand that. But still, they have this history, and it's not good. And I don't understand why they do it. Just own it. It's not that hard, John.
Well, when he was charged yesterday, they came out with it and said, and made their statements. You can think they're lame or not, whatever.
Yes.
That's again your opinion.
Correct.
But up until that point, he wasn't charged with it. He wasn't charged with a felony.
I understand that, but I don't know if one of your players gets arrested, even if you're still waiting to see what happens. I see no problem with suspending him for a game, especially a game like Indiana, or just saying, look, this is what happened to Mazi Smith. He was pulled over for this nonviolent deal with his gun. He's applied for the permit. He didn't get it. He's made a procedural mistake. We just want to let everybody know that this happened. Why is that wrong? To me, that's good. I mean, here we go. I'm comparing again. What Michigan State did by suspending maybe their players for too long of a time, everyone except the Crump. I mean, he deserves charges or whatever, and maybe Wembley too, because Widman, when he put on the helmet. But some of their others, and I don't know if they deserved 4-game suspensions or whatever they got. Maybe Mel Tucker and Michigan State decided to be, ultra proactive. They probably didn't have to do that either. They could have waited to see what happened as well.
Yep.
So that's what bothers me. Being a Michigan fan, it's so easy to do the right thing, and they don't. And the prosecutor...
Well, the right thing in your mind.
In my opinion, correct. And then you have the prosecutor who is a huge Michigan fan. It just smells and looks crappy. That's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, I don't see how anybody could feel any differently. I mean, what would you... Okay, look, you're in a different situation. I understand that. But do you think Michigan handled it correctly, or, in your opinion, they should have either owned it or maybe suspended it for one game, and then it is done? Because you know it's going to come out eventually, number one. And number two, especially now that it's out, it's like they're playing in the championship game tomorrow. Why do we need to talk about this? If they would have owned it earlier, boom, it's done. Over.
Well, he wasn't charged. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do unless he is charged?
We had a player that was arrested. We just wanted you to know that. This is what he was arrested for. We'll wait and see. We're not going to do anything disciplinary until we find out charges.
The problem with that is then there is a pressure to suspend him. Now, I'm saying that from their perspective. You know where I stand on this, Stoney. I'm locked up with you. Right. I think they should have done that. But if they... The way public pressure is these days with anything, people would have been irate. And then had they still said, okay, well, the investigation's still going on, and the Michigan State incident happens, it would have made it even worse. You know, I'm with you. Michigan slow plays things. They don't admit things. I think cover-up might be going too far. It might be.
They went through they let the law handle it and go through the due process.
I don't believe the prosecutor handled this the same he would handle other cases. That's my opinion.
Okay, and I'm glad you put that in there. That's your opinion. I don't know what the normal procedure is, what the time frame is from, when they arrested Mazi and then released him to then a felony charge being brought. I don't know what that time frame normally is. And we've had other callers in the morning earlier this morning say, in Wayne County, it could be 6 months.
Right.
And we understand that the counties are different.
And I believe we had another caller say usually this situation, they at least hold the person over, for 48 hours before deciding whether to release him or not, which would mean he wouldn't have been able to play in the Indiana game.